We talked about records. We talked about if they would be broken or not. And Turkey instantly proves us wrong. Just shows up massively in our game number 3. That was only game number 3. I feel like we've seen it all at this point. We've seen a whole lot of different stuff, but Turkey is rolling over this right now. And surely they won't be able to continue on that pace, but they're really putting in big bunch of work here towards the qualification, Felix.
Yeah, I mean, I asked you if that was the safe qualification already, and I think so. I mean, maybe not points-wise. I think points-wise, obviously, I think that's going to be a little bit more that is going to be needed than just around 55, maybe 60 points. But like realistically, how much more do you need? I think maybe even averaging like 3, maybe 4 points a game might be enough for them to qualify. So that means if you get 1, maybe 2 more double-digit rounds, which is very realistic, you're done. Like you're fine just based off of that game. You have enough points average to qualify safely for Riyadh later this year. So top 5 once again out of these 21 teams that have been that are competing in 21 countries rather will be going to Riyadh. Let's take a look at the leaderboard though, because I want to see where we stand right now before we head into the 4th game. Turkey obviously being first place, 55 points. But I gotta say, the difference is not as much as I expected it to be. It is around 16 points. That is actually way less than I expected it to be. And still very doable for France, actually. If Turkey goes out early, and we said the contests will keep on happening between Ukraine and Turkey, then there's the opportunity for everyone else to catch up.
Oh, 100%. I mean, France as well, they got themselves 7 elims in the last one, right? They're keeping up their pace, pretty much just putting up big numbers every single game. And then they had a big head start as well. I think they had a 10-point head start or something like that as well. So the gap is not insane. And then there's a bit of a gap towards Poland, bit of a gap towards the Ukraine, and a whole lot of teams towards the bottom of the scoreboard who are not doing super hot right now, but who have plenty of chances to come back in these last few games. Because thinking about it, it's not like you have to beat Turkey. It's not like you have to beat France. You just have to be in the top 5. And right now, the top 5, that's 8 points per game, right? And a team like Spain, they're more on like 3 to 4 points per game. Yeah, they can catch that up in a few games. It's entirely possible, and it's the beauty of not playing a ton of games, right? You're still in it, even after half of day 1 is done.
Yeah, you said it yourself. It's the beauty of it. You can't really count anyone else out just yet, but we do have our favorites up there, as we expected, right? We have Ukraine up there, we have France up there, even Moldova to some degree. We have obviously Turkey up there, and so most of these top teams that we expected have had one breakout performance so far, and that just goes to show you also that in a lobby like this, that we said some of these teams are less experienced than others, you know, will come to shine once in a while, and they will be overshadowed by some of these more experienced teams, and most likely will also be decided between these top teams. And even after 3 games, which is usually not a lot, which is also, especially the best of 12, which is almost nothing usually in a really competitive lobby. It's almost nothing. But if you have that big disparity like we have right here, even these top teams only need three games essentially to kind of separate themselves a little bit from the rest of the group. And yeah, top 5, it's not a lot. It's not a lot. I mean, if there's more than 5 contenders, and there obviously is, some contenders also as a result of that will not make it, and that's also kind of the beauty of it. It's the harsh truth, but it's also the beauty of it.
Yeah, and I think, like we said, right, with the kind of the teams we expect at the top are at the top right now. I'm not sure if we expected Poland in there, but we'll see if they continue that. Right now, this is the first slow game they've had. They got 4 elims though, so I'll keep saying this. If your bad games are 4-point games, then you're pretty much chilling. Because then, like we said, we talk about so many times, you'll get your opportunities. And that's a skill that you really, really have to master. There's a lot of teams in this lobby who really haven't been able to get anything going, and I don't fault them because there's so many teams in this, and there's so many big dogs just running around, confident, full rosters, been playing together for ages, right? It's hard. You've seen a France that really has been getting plenty of kills every single round. That's been looking really, really good. And then 3 of Turkey drive at them, and their game falls to pieces, right? So if the second best team in the lobby can't handle the shots that Turkey's been putting out, then what is Team 15 gonna do, right? So super contested lobbies, super rough to be in if you're one of these teams. But like we said before, I think there's 5 spots for this lobby. Seems completely fair and seems completely doable because you'll have your chances, you'll have your opportunities, and you might have teams that you just can't compete with. You might have a Turkey that runs away with it. You might have a France that runs away with it. But there's still 2-3 slots that are completely contested and completely available to play for.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yes, there's a couple of spots that are still open despite that big performance. So everyone that is in the top 5 right now, maybe even top 7, top 8, maybe even the top 10. Realistically, we saw that second leaderboard out and how close it still is. You got the chance. You literally only need like 1 round, and I mean, yes, the big dogs seem to apparently take every round, except for that one kind of Poland upset to some degree, but also in that exact round we had like France and Turkey battled out 2nd and 3rd, so it wasn't really that much of an upset. But for all the other rounds, I think despite all the big names so far having taken the round, just historically speaking, we always see some underdogs at the very least grab a round here and there as well. And if that happens, once again, it shifts the entirety of this leaderboard around, and shifts the dynamic as well. We said how important it is to take the chances, and that's also because it's so hard to compete against these big dogs. If they take all the points, there's only limited amounts of space that are still left, and that's once again 100% come true so far, right? I expect Ukraine as well to perform. If the hot drop goes a little bit better, I also expect them to be one of these teams that just grabs the rounds if Turkey doesn't. And at that point, it becomes really tough.
And I think there's another team there, Moldova, that's sort of been flying under the radar. They're in 5th right now. We haven't seen them as much. They've been taking fights and they've been getting consistent points on the board. They're on the cutoff right now. They're on 24 points. All right. The 19th place team has 6 points. You win a game, you're up to 16. You get yourself 8 kills, you're up to 24. You're literally at the cutoff to 5th.
Yeah.
So that's the 19th place team with 1 win, getting themselves realistically a 6th, a 7th, something like that. So nothing has happened yet in that area of the leaderboard that really decides anything. You still have just 1 game and you're all the way up there. Where things have happened is for teams like Turkey, right? 55 points, that's massive. That's a big bunch of points. But the difference between 6 and 18, for example, that is 6th to 19th. Massive gap on the scoreboard, not really substantial at all. So even if you're really far down on the leaderboard right now, that's not something you should think about at all. You should look at the points and say, well, there's literally nothing decided at all in this tournament yet.
Yeah. Nothing really more to add, I feel like. The leaderboard situation is quite clear. Too early to tell for any of these teams, except Turkey. I'll stand by my statement. I think Turkey with this one has qualified. I think, as I said, 3, maybe 4 points on average will easily be enough for them to just run away with it. And especially since it's only a top 5, and you can see the cutoff. It's somewhere around the 20-point mark. So for them to be able to take them by 5 other teams, just super unrealistic. Wouldn't have expected it this early, gotta say as well. Yes, I expect them to perform, but to have it happen after 3 rounds, that's something that, in my opinion, is unheard of in the history of the IESF World Esports Championship qualifiers. And we had literally world champions. I mean, last year we literally had the world champions S2G there, and they did not perform. The reigning champions. Let me repeat this: we had the reigning champions with that entirety of the roster here, and they still didn't perform like they did just now. And these guys have been struggling as well, right? It's not like Reclam Karia has just been plowing through everything internationally. It's quite the opposite, actually. I think Turkey has had quite the rough year. So for them to come out like this in the Europe qualifier and perform like they have just now it's a little bit of an upset to some degree, I'd say, despite their big names.
It's good to see as well. It's such a good game, right? We talked about how the macro strategy from Ukraine was really good in game 1. Game 3 was just so much confidence and so much good execution from Turkey there, where they're not only just taking because they could have sat in that museum and in the Alamo and just taken it slow and been in the circle and come out late and get at least the top 3, top 4. But they took the whole map and they stretched out of there. They wiped Germany. They go out there. They fight France. They fight, I think it was Azerbaijan coming in from the south. They just basically fight everyone that's coming close to them. And if they continue with any pace like that in the upcoming matches, I think we have an ERANGEL and then 2 more Miramars for you guys. if they continue in any sort of region in that pace, in that dominance, it's going to be a very one-sided tournament.
Yeah, I agree. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. We've talked about leaderboard situation, but enough of that, as we are going into the fourth match of this first day of the IESF Europe Regional Qualifiers 2024. Be reminded, it is about grabbing a top 5 spot to qualify to Riyadh later this year. The first teams of the Asia and Oceania qualifier have already qualified. Make sure to look back at some of these streams to figure out who it's been. I'm not going to spoil it for you. It's been some very explosive games. It's been some very interesting games. And a couple of upsets have happened as well. So in case you've missed it, make sure to watch it.
Fairly okay plane. Not going through the western sides of the map all too much, but the observers are already where our eyes are at as well, towards that Rozhok area. I'm seeing Loxy going fairly close towards that garden compound, even though there should be Ukraine on the western side of Rozhok. But it's looking like Ukraine is stretching over here. It's not looking like they actually want to engage on this. So we talked about the contest and how that could hold some teams back. Ukraine deciding against it, getting rewarded by a circle, and don't forget about Loxy.
Wow.
I feel like Loxy is going to go for an early frag here. I feel like Hustler has to be very, very careful with a player in the vicinity here.
This is interesting. That split from Turkey, I haven't seen the map now, but this must mean that they're not contesting anymore? Or that Ukraine isn't?
Because it's Ukraine that's leaving.
Yeah, it's Ukraine leaving, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't really play that. Are they splitting it with 2 players outside the city? Because I think I spot another red dot towards the top right, outside the L compound. That would be massive if Turkey splits it. If Turkey immediately realizes, wait, we're not being contested anymore, and then splits out at a 2-1-1 split in phase 1 in a 21-team lobby, that's nuts. That just goes to show you how confident they are at this point. Yeah, there goes Loxy. He's got to be careful, though, because Hala is being supported by Mand, who's now rotating in. They've got 2 vehicles now. In the meanwhile, we see Germany dropping on in.
On
this is disastrous. His is being shot out of the air. Germany is being picked apart here. He's got the micro use. He's going to take down 2 rows. Gia takes one back, but I don't think it's going to be enough depending on where, his has been dropped down. Actually, the way I see it, he's been dropped down between German players. He might be able to get a rest back up. Somehow, this could still work out for Germany.
There's a chance that works, and I'm going to take your eyes to the kill feed there. He got knocked out of the air by a pistol. That is some mental scenes, but gets one back with the SMG. And now, well, we said Loxy needs to be careful, but there's a whole gang coming on in, and it's a good nade coming out of Hala. He's trying to get a second one out there. If he's quick with it, he can do a little bit of damage here, at least try and get the confirm, but not looking like it. Turkey, stay clean in this one. The res comes through, and they will show everyone that they are not to be messed with.
Yeah, this is a good indication of how you want to play this. You get contested for the first time in a compound like this. You're Turkey. It doesn't really matter how this game goes anymore with the way you're positioned. So make sure to scare everyone away from your loot spots. That's what just happened. Albania gets a clear message. Hey, if you dropped here, we're going to contest you. We're going to run up you. Doesn't matter if we lose players in the process. The way we want to play this qualifier is with our kind of split that we want. And so you have the option to fight this every single time against us, Turkey, or just dodge it. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think Albania's not going to contest this anymore in the upcoming games, which also means they might be forced into Belarus because I don't see too many options.
That's a tricky thing as well, because Turkey was clearly aware that there would be no hot drop coming this game, right? That's how they can take so much space so early. But Albania doesn't know that, right? They think, okay, they're fighting in Rozhok. Maybe we can just take a little bit more space than usual. And instantly punished for it. So is Moldova. Uncharacteristic for them. They lose 2 players very, very early here. They are on their way towards the circle. Not sure if that was a bridge camp or if that was just a little bit of a scuffle. I think there was a whole lot of Czech players in these yellow houses just a second ago. So not sure if that was a fight they intended to take, but not a fight that went their way regardless.
Gia, in the meanwhile, still trying to find Unknown, who's still in the radio tower. Germany has been able to revive Hisk, who has been dropped out of the air. You said it before. Pistol headshot. Shot him down. Hasn't been able to land quite as softly as he expected. But he's been revived. It is a 4v3, I guess. I'm not sure where the rest of the players are. They must be towards the western side of the military island. Means Germany has now got the opportunity to isolate that one player up in the radio tower. It's really tough to shoot out of it if you're on the top floor. But okay, never mind me. Hungary is actually repositioned and is now try to reinforce their teammates up towards the radio tower area, at least towards the western side of it. So Gia has to be careful. But there's one more player that's really close to some of these Hungarian players. Haven't quite spotted out who it is. I think it might be Hisk. So I can still imagine that fight happening.
I think so too. There's a chance that happens. There's a chance we see Albania getting encroached upon there on that Potato Hill side of things. There's a chance we see Croatia clash towards the Milta Farm area. And I am feeling for our observers right now. There is just so many players on this map, so many teams, and so little space for them to rotate through. There's the engage, and there's the trades. Germany, in numbers, in force, come on in and try to take that fight by the horns. Citro, 1 HP, but Germany has to be careful as well. There's more Hungarian players, and they want to take this fight. At least they wanted to. Now it's looking a lot more like a disengage now.
Yeah, they're going to disengage this. Sideshow has realized there's not really a way for us to win this, and he's literally got nothing left in his inventory. I mean, he's not got a single flash, smoke, nade. He hasn't even got anything to heal. And he's going to be in the blue zone any second. So if he's not careful, actually, he might die to the blue zone. That's a very realistic scenario right now, depending on how fast the blue zone moves. Because literally, he's got nothing left. He hasn't even got bandages as of right now. Next fight coming up, it's going to be Ukraine picking one up against Belarus. And Belgium as well. Still continuing to fight. I think it is Montenegro inside the city. So more fights happening in phase 1 than we expected, and especially since we have seen a rather calm early game in the last one, except for Turkey and Ukraine.
Bit of a quiet game for Ukraine in that match 3 as well. They are now looking to make another stamp on the lobby. Really, really good position early game. Getting up towards the mountain, up towards Everest. You put an experienced player like Old Boy in that position, he's going to net you a whole lot of good decisions to be made with the info he's got. So, position you'd like to see for the Ukrainian squad, but very early on in the game. And with everybody going a little bit crazy, and I think that's actually a player. Not sure if that was actually a player going down to the blue zone like you expected, but with a whole lot of scuffles all around the map, the distribution of players is going to be really hard to predict here and really hard to understand.
You can kind of sense a pattern here with France already having picked a player up as well. All the top teams continue to be aggressive early, and they continue to win these fights. Same cannot be said as much about Azerbaijan, because they seem to continue fighting early. But unfortunately, as opposed to some of these top teams on the overall leader right now, it's not worked out for them. They continue to lose a player here. They might pick up a couple of frags by the looks of it. One should be easily secured, but they can't seem to get the follow-ups. As Belgium still driving all around there. Maybe the long-distance shots might be enough. A good couple of tags, but there's more players rotating on through, and it seems like the car is kind of Belgium's most important weapon here. I saw the Belgish Esports Federation there in the chat as well. Greetings out to you. This round, unfortunately, is not going to go as they had hoped for, I guess, as they will be swamped by Azerbaijan in the early game.
Koa comes over the top, the UMP rings through, and another messy fight on the other side of the map. 4 for Croatia, 2 for Spain. I'm not quite sure what that was from Belgium. They were going in there, they were going crazy, they were going motivated, but a little disjointed there in their efforts. So, tough fight for them. Azerbaijan lose members, so does Belgium, and you can see the play zone helps to flush these out as well, because they are so deeply into the blue. We see teams next to Pochinki, who are still in the blue, and then these guys are all the way off over towards the Prison Hill. So not an easy zone for a lot of these players, not a good way in, as we're just going fight to fight, scuffle to scuffle, and it's not going well for a whole lot of them. That's a beautiful nade from Bandita, but there's more work to be done if they want to move past the Czech team here.
Yeah, way more to be done, actually. Bulgaria actually got Icy standing. It's a good message for any Bulgarian fan. Don't want to make this too much about Icy, but he's been a key fragger, especially in Sanhok. as Romania is driving in as well. Also, really experienced player. I think I haven't really talked about them enough. I feel like they're not playing with the lineup I expected them to play with. The old 4 Romanian boys roster, that is. Instead, it is only half of it. One player from Titan, though, coming in. I saw some Titan fans in the chat as well. Greetings out to you guys. Once again, still a roster that is very much to be fair. It's a very strong roster, very disciplined roster as well. They've shown us time and time again that they can frag out. But at least in this one, it hasn't happened yet. But then again, I feel like that's been the curse of just Turkey and France plowing through.
Yeah, it's been hard to shine in this lobby, really, when you have such outperformances on the big dogs. Romania definitely one of the contenders for the top 5, one of the teams we expect to do at least okay, and they know there's a solo in front of them now. I feel like they've smelt that a long way ago. They've seen he's just alone. There's no support coming on in. They want to punish. They're going to take a 4v1 whenever chance they get. And now Koa comes over the top. He wants to put damage into these cars, but will not succeed at it. They will knock themselves, but the trade's instantly there. Romania on the other side, or Moldova on the other side, excuse me. They're in a fight that's a whole lot more equal, with 2 parties involved there. Croatia is trying to put the pain down.
And I said they played discipline. I think that was a perfect example of it. You have 2 players running in, one towards the left of Koa, one towards the right. That kind of eliminates any chances for Koa, who is in a massive fragger as well. By the way, I quickly want to touch on this. Koa, he's wow. Him and Bishka have been very integral parts of the recent success of I want to say money makers especially as well. So not to be underestimated. Bishka and Koa, the 2 star fraggers for Serbia as well. But yeah, you could tell Koa couldn't have turned around, gotten the 1 frag, and then turn around and gotten the other. That's just, I feel like, statistically impossible. And also just timing-wise impossible. So they sent 1 left, 1 towards the right. And that's just the discipline that goes to show you, even if it's a solo. They're not just raining in randomly. They want to play it as cleanly as they can. So good stuff coming out from Romania. I expect the same to happen for Moldova. As we have Germany once again. It feels like this might be the first really good round for them. This is another good knock against, I believe it was Czech Republic. Yeah. And they've secured that initial 4v4 in the beginning as well. All 4 frags actually being picked up by them.
It's a sign of life for the German roster. Icy picks up another one for Bulgaria. Make that 4. And they have to move on into another shift, another stage 3. 1 minute 40 for them to do it until the close-in reveals us where we go next. But yeah, there's a few teams popping off now that we haven't seen as much. And then there's a few of the bigger names towards that top 5 that are struggling a little bit. So that's what you expect on the leaderboard, right? You expect it to even out a little bit across games. But it's good to see some of the lower down teams putting up some numbers. But then there's France again, and they'll find someone, and they'll take him down. And I don't know if we've seen them lose a fight early, like you said, right? They are so proficient at this. They're so proficient at picking up these kills, but not losing members for it. It's been so clean so far.
Super clean. Same can be said about Poland. They've also been one of the most consistent teams, and I think the biggest surprise up until game 3, not really going out early in any of these rounds. Quite the opposite. Winning 1 and then taking obviously 2nd in the very first one against Ukraine. And they want to continue doing it just like that. Albania's right in front of them. Have to be careful of not being shot in the back. That's where the smoke is right behind Ked, who's the most experienced part of that lineup. And wow, what a night. I mean, the communication-wise, absolutely perfect. He didn't see the player once. Be reminded, he didn't see the player a single time. He just knew where he was based off of the rest of his team, who just must have marked him perfectly. So good stuff coming out from Poland. This is the kind of stuff you like to see. Isolating players early on, grabbing an easy frag, gives you constant confidence, and sets you up for success.
Really well done. Like you said, cleanly, right? That's the name of the game. You gotta stay clean. A 4v1 is not hard to win. You just have to stay clean. You can't lose a member for it. Circle hard to the southeast. Romania in a really, really good spot right now. Ukraine, possibly the only shift where they're not in anymore, but they still see all of this. They see all of the area, so they should still be able to do something with it. There's France again. This time a knock comes towards them. That nade might do the trick as well. Noix barely stays alive in it. They have traded this out. They have been even on the knocks, but the time is ticking, right? They have to be fast in this fight if they want to take it. So if they decide to do so, they can't put the brakes here.
Good nade coming in. Might just be enough against Azerbaijan. We've kind of seen what happens if Azerbaijan has nades raining down on them. Just last game, Turkey with the single nade taking out all 3 of the remaining players. Let's hope this time around for any Azerbaijan fan, it's gonna be different. And France, for I want to say the very first time up until phase 4 now in any of these games, really meeting strong opposition. 2 players knocked. Yes, they might maneuver out of this some way, but by the looks of it, that might not even happen. Snowies goes down to the blue zone once more. The rest of the team is rotating also. I think they have lost this fight, and they will have to continue this as a 2-man.
Yeah, they're trying to cut their losses here. They're trying to get out of it while they still can, but a quick reposition actually gives them another knock. Maybe makes them reconsider, makes them go back down. Because Turkey in the compound there, they were ready and waiting. They were waiting for France to come over that hillside, and they instantly knock one down as well. So tricky times for the Frenchies, for Le Bleu here on that northeastern shift, as Turkey wants to confirm that knock nice and quickly. But they're also a team that has to go. They're also a team that has to move, but you can just see the confidence, right? Ready to take every single fight, and that's another flush. Now they're looking to close out the French player as well. And if you're just feeling it like that, if you just feel like everything you do will go right, you can go for these fights and just pick up 2 more eliminations just like that. 2 more points, and just extending your lead on the leaderboard.
It really feels just like that as well. Yeah, tough circle for anyone who's not currently inside the safe zone, unless you're Turkey and you just plow through, because there's very limited space available now. And you can see Romania is actually holding most of it towards the southern side. Really dangerous split, but they're just about to pull up on Germany as well. That's nasty. If they would have done that, that is absolutely absurd. But they could have. With the angles they have, you can see Axel and the rest of the Romanian guys in the distance having a pretty good spot on Germany. And Germany's not inside the safe zone right now. So isn't all the teams towards the northern side. They all aren't inside the current safe zone. So they all need to move. This could be massive for Romania, or it could fall apart really quickly, depending on how they get isolated. But I don't see too many vehicles still being left standing for all these teams. So very tough edge towards the northwestern side.
Tricky places to be playing on in. I like the move from Turkey. Just making sure that you're the last one coming from the top, and then you take the low ground, because you know no one's above you anymore. Ukraine, big runs to make here. Not a pretty spot to be in. There's the knock coming out. Sky connects with the 4x M4. And I think they had a beautiful position here in phase 1, but not able to convert it so far. That being said, Georgia has only 2 in this upper part of the compound here, so that is something that they could maybe try and engage on later on. But Turkey now on the move as well, maybe making sure they're ready on the cars, and the circle comes back a little bit. So Ukraine, they're chilling. They're staying alive in this. While the southern side that we just talked about, the Gatka area, they will have no more chill in this game. They have to go, and they have to go now.
Good shots against Armenia here. The smoke is going to fade any second as well, so I think they might be in even more trouble than what they're in already. But yeah, and as you said, that zone is just really, really troublesome. Nate comes in now from Germany. If that would have hit a little bit better, maybe Armenia would have been taken out just like that. But yeah, I fear for Germany as well. Germany, I don't think they have any vehicles left, so rotating out, they're just going to run into the arms of Romania, and that's what's just happening. But let's try it over to Turkey. Turkey, for the very first time, it will feel like forever, are meeting someone that can put a word against them, and it is going to be Bulgaria cleaning up Turkey. That is surprising to me, but then again, it's been a really tough breach. A winning breach, though. It was a winning play that unfortunately just didn't work out. And look who survived it. A single player was Icy.
With a 3-man nade, no less. That was, he gave him a taste of their own medicine there, Felix. He just put it right back towards them. But yeah, I mean, like you said, right? They were in the circle. They decided they want a better compound. They decided they want to play for the win. And it doesn't work out in the end here. They maybe could have gotten a few placements. You can see players falling by the wayside every side of the circle right now. But they want to go for the winning play. They want to go for it early. And it doesn't work out in the end. Croatia struggling. Romania has the control here. They have this area under their grasp. And they're trying to just extract the max amount of points right now.
Trying to put out smokes. I'm not quite sure where he's going to go from here. I was thinking Maybe he's just going to stay there, but I guess he is. But then the sidelines should be pretty good from Bulgaria. But yeah, maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I'm mistaken because there's just so few players left to right towards the southern and southeastern side. Maybe that's the reason why all of these players on the western side, now that the western side has been mostly cleared, can play as open as they do. Well, Belarus is still taking control of the compound. Yeah, Romania has taken even more space. I think. So I think the southern side must be almost entirely clear. If they can play like this, it must be almost entirely clear. Ukraine, on the other hand, is cleaned out towards the northern side. They want to come back towards Turkey. They've dodged it, and yeah, I think it's the right decision. You have nothing to gain anymore, and Turkey has nothing to lose by that hot drop, so they just do decide to dodge it in a best of 12. Once again, 100% understandable. You're both fighting for the exact same spots, and you're fighting for the exact same spots on the leaderboard as well, which is top 5. So Ukraine, once again, dodging it and thus having kind of a good early game, and will rotate down and kind of a good position now as well in phase 5. Next circle, just out of tendencies that we've seen, normally does end somewhere around the middle, maybe even more towards the northern part. So Ukraine, if that shift happens towards the northern side, an absolute prime spot to take on the win as well.
Good spot for a win, and a whole lot of competitors that are already out of this. We have Poland on the far southeast, just smoking themselves in the field, just playing for survival, hoping that they can stick through this. But I'm not sure how good their cars are looking. If they are just smoking themselves here, if they are not doing anything aggressive, I don't know if their cars are still going to be fine. They had a pretty good chance to engage on the south side of that compound when there was a breach happening from Turkey, but they decided to wait. And they have been okay so far. Circle swings a little bit further south than north. Means Ukraine doesn't have a whole lot left to play. And that means they might be going for this ridge here. They might be going for a little bit closer.
Building, I think they're sitting right behind it. Never mind me, Ripper is actually inside. But yeah, that one actually hits the door frame, but just no one right behind it. Good try from Tulika, but he's not going to get an entry just like that. They're going to have to fight their way in. And oh boy, what a massive, massive knock. What have we just witnessed? How far is that? That must easily be 300 meters. He just put down a knock on Poland. Oh my lord. Good stuff coming out from all boys. Is that really going to change the outcome of the round? I'm not so sure. They will still have to fight their way in, but it's a pickup nonetheless.
Not a good time for Poland either. They've been smoking for so long. They're surely going to run out of smoke grenades at some point here. I don't know how many they have, but it's not going to be a fun time. And I feel like they're expanding quite a lot of them as well, but they're still losing members. So it's really not going according to plan. Where Romania, they still have a bit of hard cover to work with. They still have a bit of low ground to hide in. And the other fights are slowly but surely kicking on off. I think that's Icy getting another one on that other side of the map there. I think that's Icy getting a knock towards Poland now as well. So not looking clean right now for the Polish boys. Looking aggressive, though, for Ukraine. Sweeping on in. Georgia's gone. And all they have to deal with is a solo below them in Icy. So this could be the game that Ukraine completely pops off.
Yeah, it could be. Romania, meanwhile, trying to secure as many frags from all these players. They still need to make it inside as they can. Because I think after that one, it's going to be really, really tough. You can tell they're being shot at from all sorts of angles. And to some degree, they're lucky because Ukraine is not really engaging just yet. But if that happens, I think they will have a little bit more space and maybe can make a couple of more moves. But either way, they will pick up more frags. Good stuff against Poland. Some really long distance shots, but they will hit their target. So even though the winning chances right now aren't really necessarily that high, they will pick up a couple of more kill points.
Now the utils just flying on in. It's not an easy task here to clear all the rooms out. They are just trying to bombard everything. But Icy will try and smoke this out. We'll try and throw a few nades back. Doesn't have to throw a whole lot back when Ukraine is actually nading each other. But he's trying to make this hard. He's done this once. He's held the breach versus Turkey. Can he do it again versus 4 of Ukraine? They've got so many nades with his name on it. But he's been staying true to this for now. Moving again. The molly might just be good, but there is at least a knock towards Africa. And oh boy, he's making this a whole lot harder for them than it should have been. He's costing them so much time as well, Felix.
Yeah, Icy's doing his best to kind of ruin Ukraine's chances of taking control, because look at what everyone else is doing. There's a rotation already happening towards the northern side, and if Ukraine is not careful, they might get shot in the back immediately. Yeah, a flush coming through as well. Havlik goes down. Oh boy, finally clears out Icy, but I think they've lost control already. Unfortunately, I think the round control has been lost. Look at what Belarus just did. Yes, they might not rotate there with a full foreman, but they've taken the ridgeline just north of it, and in a 2v3, that can still be very dangerous.
Yeah, and if Romania gets freed here on that western side as well, if they take care of Melvin and they start playing below the compound, then Ukraine pretty much has nothing left. Now, Doran, I think he's already on the scent. He's going to pull up on this ridge, and he's going to try to take control of the compound. So not only have they lost a whole lot of time, not only have they lost a member, they've also lost control, just like you said. Romania, though, they might throw it back on the other side. Melvin finds 2, and it's disaster for Romania. They're just 1.5 players up as well. Ukraine might just be getting this gifted back, Felix.
Yeah, they might have just gotten it. That is completely absurd. Good nade now coming in, and that's Belarus cleared. And that opens up the round again. 11 frags for Ukraine. Once again, they're trying to diminish what we've just witnessed for Turkey, but no matter, even if they clean up everyone in this round, I think it's still going to be Turkey all the way. I think that distance on the leaderboard might be a little bit too high, even for Ukraine. I think he was sitting in somewhere 26, 27 points beforehand. Oh boy, gets another knock. It's Lawrence and Doran now, the last 2 players left alive for Romania. I don't think Exo is going to be able to get revived. No, Tulika gets the flash, and it is back to a 3-on-2.
3-on-2. 13 elims for Ukraine, and 11 for the Romanian squad. So both of them have put up big numbers this game so far. That's a good nade. That's going to do a whole bunch of damage. But it's a little too short. But the job's not that hard for Ukraine right now. They should know that there's one player far away. So all they have to do is continue to harass him, not let him get into the circle, and then you should be able to close out the 1v3. And that's what they're trying to do right now. That car is blowing up in a second. Foopsman doing his job on the roof. I'm not sure if there's a more util coming out for Doran, but if he doesn't find an insane opening, then this game will be over in just a second, yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Doran, it's going to be all down to Doran. Doran needs to make something crazy happen. S12K in hand. He doesn't only get a knock, he gets a flush as well. That's all ball going down. Somehow he isolated him. I think that it really was a matter of angles, and now he's repositioning to potentially get a frag on towards Foosman. That's really good stuff coming up from Doran. He's playing this to perfection right now. And he's putting up so much trouble for Ukraine. 12 frags on Romania as well. This is massive for both of these teams. 13 even on Ukraine. And once again, it is the top teams grabbing the majority of the points so far in this round.
There's the run now. The run he has to make, and the run he should never be able to make. Foopsman finds it. That's the job he had to do. And that's the job he does. Oh boy, taking the 1v1 a little bit early. Now Foopsman has to be careful. They want to take this 2v1. They don't want to give him a chance at another 1-versus-1 situation. The S12K and the M4 are going to be coming out. There's the regroup. There's the reposition, and that's exactly what they had to do. But he does a good bunch of damage over the top. Now he swings the bottom with the S12K. One shot could do it. But it's Ukraine in the end. And oh boy, that was looking a little dicey. But they take it away and take the winner chicken dinner.
That was close there in the end. I gotta say, that was way closer than I expected it to be. I mean, yeah. Foosman, there was an advantage at some point to take down Foosman. If he would have fell, I think there would have been no way to get him back up, obviously, with him being on the roof. But he was able to group up. Smart play there with the car as well, making it extra safe on that rotate back. And, I mean, let's be honest. Once again, 2 top teams in the top 2, maybe even top 3, excluding Belarus, that to some degree. Confirms our suspicions that this is to some degree a top-heavy lobby, and that's going to be so very tough for any of these outsiders to really get a grip on this, to really grab a footing even in this lobby. They'll just be eliminated early on. They just be isolated, and that's what we're seeing. Starting off from the very beginning, even Romania. Look at what they did. Look at how they started. Starting to pick apart teams and phase 1, 2, and 3, just solely based off of their advantage in fighting. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and like I said, right, we talked about this plenty in the early game. They spot a weakness and they hunt them down. They don't mess around. They see that solo player, they know, hey, we're 4, he's 1, this should be an easy frag, and they go pick it up. No doubts in their mind. And then they play a really good Gatka exit, right? They make sure nobody can play around them. They take out the yellows, they take out the compound, and they have 11 eliminations before they have to take that fight versus Ukraine. So if they if they manage to clutch that up, it's crazy, but they've done the job beforehand, and they've done the job before they had to. So shout out to them. Ukraine, yes, they win it, but I was singing their praises in that first game, right? I was saying, oh my god, this is a super clean game that they've just played. This one, they almost threw away in the end. They make that a 1v2 when they had a guaranteed 1v3. Little bit, making it a little bit dicey, but when you get away with winning, there's not so much you can say about.
No, never doubt success, I guess. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be heading into a very quick break before we head on over to leaderboard and all sorts of stuff, and also obviously to the next 2 games that will be following in just a short period of time. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.